2020 because I was not able to give you a clear cut. This is what it's going to reach for. There was no fair value gap to reach for because we were bumping up against that 4030.75 on the daily chart. So that upper boundary on a daily chart in the form of a premium didn't lend well to go beyond that much for a higher fair value gap. So I would be looking for short-term buy stop hunts over this high here. That was 40.35 essentially. So I was watching 40.36. I was mentioning it today in tweets. And I said it could potentially drive up into 40.40. I mentioned that last week, and it was still on my notes as a potential run above this short-term high. Now, if it were to do that, I would have been looking for that to fail and as a turtle soup, fake breakout and go short, sell it, and look for 39.82.5. That's what I was trying to do. I was waiting for that to happen this morning. And I did 2 trades where I was going in long, and I was able to get a partial off into a buy-sell liquidity pool, which I'll talk about when we get into lower time frames. But it ended up failing and coming back on my stop, and took me out on break even on the balance. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I was proving that, you know, when you're in that environment in between real setups, that I would rather take smaller time frame moves. I can still find those 5 handles, and I proved that this morning. The point of reaching down to that 39.82.5 level, which is this one here, don't be confused with this here. This line is being anchored to the daily chart, the midpoint of that wick, just like this line is being anchored to the previous day, the middle of its wick. So when you do the higher time frame levels and you transpose those same levels into your lower time frame, this being an hourly chart, the lines might look a little differently than they did when you anchored them on a higher time frame. It's not that important. You just got to be mindful where those levels are, because that's exactly what the algorithm is going to refer to.